Incorrectly inflated tyres, whether low or high, have a reduced performance level, which can lead to tyre failure and cause multiple performance and safety issues. One example is an increased risk of aquaplaning. When due to water on the road and incorrect inflation, tyres may lose contact with the road surface and skate across a film of water, resulting in loss of control. Extreme weather affects tyre performance. Cold temperatures cause a drop in tyre pressure, whilst hot temperatures cause the inflation medium, usually compressed air, inside the tyres to expand, increasing pressure. Both scenarios affect vehicle traction. Additionally, due to changes in temperature, small components of the wheel can constantly contract and expand, increasing the probability of road incidents. A recent study by National Transport Insurance and the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator found vehicles with defects in their tyres are 32% more involved with claims and record 26% higher costs per claim. A related report presents tyre-associated issues as the cause of 59% of recorded mechanical failures. Appropriately maintained tyres and wheels play a critical role in road safety, given that they are the only part of the vehicle that is in contact with the road surface.
An older tyre is a worn tyre, I guess, and you're carrying massive weight at all times. When you're out of a quarry, you're at max weight every load. So you need to know that your tyres are good.
Well, the visual checks is always what we go with here. We've got wheel and nut indicators on our tyres, so if the nuts are coming loose, you can see them. You can have visual checks on tyres, and we also you can have a hammer or a pipe or something. We whack the tyres of the morning. You can hear the different sounds in the tyres. If they're a little bit down, you'll hear a different sound to a full one.
You see that all the time, people walking along and banging them, so that's why.
That's why. Kicking tyres doesn't just generally give you the noise. I have a hammer in my truck, some people have pipes in their truck or a little bat. But there's a definite tone difference between a 100 psi tyre to a lesser. I know my process and my procedure. I've been doing it for a long time, so I know how I work, but that's different to how other people work.
And so your biggest bit of wisdom, what would you share?
Make sure you do it properly.
What would you recommend every driver does to make sure the vehicle tyres are in good condition and can respond in case of emergency?
The pre-checks are the key. The old-fashioned way of doing things is not kicking it with your foot. That tells you nothing. The sideway deflection doesn't do a lot. It's actually that sound when you get the tyre bar, and it's like a drum. And when you start hitting your tyres, depending on the tread compound, some may not bounce. Generally they do. But it's a sound, and if you've got, it goes B, B, C, there's something wrong. You can actually tell, like 1 out of 4, it might have a different sound. You can bet that one's underinflated. That sound difference, there's a difference between the outside and the inside. Feels flatter. It's not springing off the tyre as much as what the inside one does. So there's less effort when I bang the inside one compared to the outside.
Sounds different.
Yeah, it's not that much different, but there is a difference. Being an outside tyre, that cops gutters, it cops everything. You would normally assume that the outside one's vulnerable. There's no real way of telling by sidewall with the foot. Could be roughy, but all it'll pick up is a difference like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's only a matter of time. Bead will break. The tyre itself will start freewheeling around the rim and it can quite easily peel and all that. Yeah. Going to generate a lot of heat into that one, and this is what a deflated one sounds like. That's an inflated tyre. It's as simple as that.
Pre-start checks are an indicator of periodic inspection. If you notice something unusual, notify your manager and mechanic as soon as possible. When you are completing the pre-start check, look for loose wheel nuts, corrosion, cracks, or elongation of stud holes. If you notice something, report it in writing, and if possible, take a picture. Consider the use of additional elements that help you monitor wheel performance, such as nut locks or indicators. Check the regulations that apply, as well as information from the wheel manufacturer. Check that your vehicle carries the appropriate set of tools to deal with road checks and adjustments. And check the vehicle in real conditions, looking at the tyre pressures when the vehicle has been exposed to the weather for enough time to cool down or warm up. And as recommended by an experienced driver trainer, in the case of tyre failure or blowout, hold the steering wheel firmly, don't brake heavily, and just remove your foot from the accelerator. Steer the vehicle out of the path of other traffic, park on stable ground, and call for assistance.
With our indicators, they've all got little arrows, so two nuts join together, and if one's loose or one moves, generally means that one's obviously loose, or so you can check. I check on a weekly basis on my wheel nuts on my truck, just because.
Can they shift much over time? Do you notice or not?
If they're not torqued up, they will shift. Yeah. If they get a tyre changed and they put the tyre on and you forget about it, they will undo without being torqued up.
So we'll just quickly dive into that a little bit. So when someone changes a tyre, walk me through, I guess, if you put a new tyre on, what happens there?
Well, the tyre person will come out, they'll take it off, put the new tyre on, and they'll put it back on with what they can do, but after 50 odd Ks, you've got to re-tension them again to make sure that they're tight, because after that, if you roll past, the wheel nuts will undo again.
When I was in training, I had a delamination there of a front tyre coming off the Westgate onto the ring road, and at 80k, and I could hear this sound, and I thought, oh wow, I've got a turbo blown, and then I could feel something through the steering, and instinctively I thought, no, I've got something wrong. So I'm starting to decelerate, and sure enough, it delaminated and virtually peeled off the rim. And fortunately, because of my past involved with Decker and all that sort of thing, instinctively I just turned the wheel sort of virtually hard left to compensate for the pull to the right, and then just nursed it over into the middle nature strip. That was in the middle of a demonstration drive to a new driver. So the demonstration drive has been through the onboarding process. You know, we go around and I'm commenting on what I'm doing, what I'm looking for, and going through system driving as such. And yeah, that was, I got a compliment from the trainee though. He thought I did well.
What did you learn from all this around tyres?
Don't really trust them, and stay within your specs and all that, and be wary. You know, your steering wheel's going to tell you what's going on, especially with steer tyres. You know, you feel something a little bit wobbly, a little bit of a vibration, a sound that could be a bit off. You know, I know when I worked at Ford Motor Company. You actually used to wind your windows down and you'd be driving through the plant, maybe 10, 15k thereabouts, and you'd virtually listen out the window. And if you can hear a tick, 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 tick like that, you've picked up a bolt. What that means is that bolt's going to work further into the tyre if you set off to Broadmeadows, and it will blow. Yeah.
Wheels and tyre performance are primarily determined by installation and vehicle maintenance by trained staff. Provide training material for internal mechanics and build a strong relationship with your providers. Vehicle maintenance helps you manage the vehicle as an asset. In the long term, maintenance allows owners to make better and prolonged use of the vehicle, keep operational costs down and productivity high, and potentially maximize resale value. Implement systems to prevent mistakes. When dealing with wheels and tyres, small and human mistakes can have a large impact on how the vehicle performs on the road. Create systems that help your staff prevent mistakes, confusion, or misunderstandings. Monitor any trends that you can identify when performing periodic maintenance or everyday pre-start checks. It allows you to plan for better maintenance practices and possibly even estimate and prevent future failure. Train your drivers on what to do and not to do when incidents such as a flat tyre or wheel malfunction occur on the road. Maintenance practices are an indicator of the safety culture of your company. For drivers, companies, and the whole industry, periodic inspections reflect a commitment to safety.